I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unmask? Unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the True North Racing Podcast, presented by Driving With Hailey. I'm your host, John Morrison. It's great to be back, and I can't wait to talk all about it. Let's get into this week's Peps Pro Painting opening segment, guys. I got back to Grand Speedway this weekend, and we got a lot to talk about. It was a lot of fun. So on this weekend, we did a race day vlog with Mark Allen, also known as the Pug. He drives the number 40 car in the pure stocks at Grand Bend Speedway. We got to hang out with them. Man, what a guy to hang out with. One of the coolest guys we've gotten to hang out with at the races this year. All year, we've talked to him and we've had him on the show. Dude loves to talk, and that's evident, and we loved having him on. And it was great even being able to do that at the racetrack. The only downfall is what happened in feature number 2. If you don't know or haven't seen the footage yet, on lap 5, Mark got into it, ended up getting into the outside wall and destroying the front end of the car. Mark got out. He was fine. He is fine today. I've seen some things. He's hurting a little bit, but hard hit. And I'm glad he's okay. Cars can be replaced, but our companions, our friends cannot. But we were so thankful that all the safety equipment did its job, and he's fine. Just a little sore today. But he took a hard hit. And all day, I'm going to be honest, guys, this is going to be one of the most entertaining race day vlogs we've done. And that's because between the feature 1 and feature 2, he actually broke a left front spindle in the first feature. So his crew got to work, and they put in a new spindle in about 15-20 minutes. And I think I think sometimes we think like certain things could have happened. I don't know. If you watch the video, it looks as if the steering looks like it may have like gone away on him, because you can see him starting to turn left, but the car is still going straight and goes straight into that outside wall. But man, it was such a hard hit. But wait till you guys see the full video. You guys are gonna have a great behind the scenes look at Mark Allen, at the team, what they did to get through the night. During the night, man, guys, one of the coolest things we ever got to see was our good friend J Pep and JTM Racing, the guy who helps us with a day at the races. He went out there and won his first ever Grindstone Landscaping Canadian Vision Modified feature win. And needless to say, it was the coolest thing I ever got to witness. And for me, this is something I'm waiting to see. I'm really hoping Pedal Power puts out this video. I was up in the booth helping call the race with Kevin Small when that race was going on. So I got a nice front row view. And by the way, actually, if you ever get a chance to go sit up in as that high at Grand Bend Speedway, enjoy yourself, because that is a great view from that side of the speedway. I forgot. So being in the pits, a lot of times, I kind of forget what it's like sitting on the grandstand side, and being able to see that was phenomenal. And, Jay Pepin, he's been battling all year, been involved in wrecks. He's done a hell of a job. He finally got his first win, man. It was probably one of the most emotional wins I've ever seen in a racing career. I really hope, like I said, I really hope Pedal Power puts that one out. Man, yeah, you guys are going to enjoy that. On Friday night, I was at Oswego Speedway with Cam Thompson for the Northern Creighton Nationals. Needless to say, man, whenever Cam and I are together and there's cameras involved, apparently he likes to put on a hell of a show, and that's exactly what he did. He went out there, had a horrible qualifying session, had a horrible heat, put him in the B, put him deep in the B, and he got stuck. He got glued to the bottom, and he worked his way forward. And he once again raced his way into the A main for the Northern Creighton Nationals at Oswego Speedway. And dude held on. He did great. Loved it. We talked obviously, and he wasn't feeling it, which happens. I get it. I knew there was something left in the tank for him, and he showed me why there was something left in the tank. And he went out there, put it in the show, got into the Northern Creighton Nationals. Man, we were so proud of him. We were so excited. But you guys are going to enjoy that. We were busy all weekend. We had a double race day vlog. Friday with Cam, Saturday with Mark Allen. You guys are going to have a lot. And of course, I'm going to be honest, guys. If you guys can't tell, I'm a little bit under the weather still. My voice is still a little cracky. I've been drinking, as y'all know, my favorite drink, Dr. Pepper. So I don't cough as much, and I can hear it in my voice tonight that it's a little bit different than it normally is. On the show tonight, though, we are gonna have Jacob Ross. Jacob drives the number 84 for Ross Motorsports in the late model division at Grand Bend Speedway. He didn't have the season he was hoping for, unfortunately, but I'm excited to bring him on. We're going to talk to him all about how we got involved in racing. And he's been on the show before, actually, in the past. He was actually on one of our Champions episodes. I think it was the 500cc division. We'll chat with him about that, obviously. I think that was the division that he came on for. I think it was that one. But yeah, we're excited to have him back. He was a drone media driver this year. We were thankful to work alongside Jacob and Jeff Ross. And who knows, we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, I don't know, kind of jumping around here, guys, a little bit, but as you guys can see, we're on YouTube anyways. We're a little bit darker than we normally are in the terms of how our lighting is. I hope you guys don't mistake that for anything. I still got a light over there, light up here. I got to work this one actually around, I think. Last week, I actually picked up myself a new to me desk, and it's giving me a lot more storage. I actually have a laptop, so you guys can see it off here. This section over here slides in and out, which is awesome. So I have a nice little L shape. So I'm able to work a little bit more in, I can have my laptop over here if I want to and look over and do stuff while I'm working on the computer. But yeah. Honestly, guys, the race day vlogs this weekend, I had a great time at Flamborough as per usual. And I gotta thank Kevin Small for letting me come up into the booth there and call the CVM race with him. It was my first time ever in a booth. I know I wasn't. If anyone listened on Track Tune or at Flamborough, you guys would have listened and kind of heard me not talk like I normally do. Partially that's because I was a little unsure as to what to do. I always thought it'd be cool to call a race just for, good time. But realistically, standing up there and being able to listen to Kevin, how he operates and seeing how kind of the whole behind the scenes works for Flamborough Speedway, holy, there's a lot that goes on. I was just soaking it all in. So if you guys were listening, I didn't sound like I normally do when I'm doing the show. That's why. But I hope Kevin allows me to come back up another time, give it another go. I think the voice now is sounding pretty good in my opinion. But it was, I can't get over the fact that, and you guys, okay, so I got the story now. I got a cool little story for y'all. 2 weeks ago, when I was at Flamborough Speedway with Jay Pepin and Max Pepin doing a day at the races, one of the funniest things I think I've ever said was I told Jacqueline before I left to go to the track, because she goes, "Oh, if you do that, let me know and I'll make sure to tune in." Okay. Obviously, I didn't get to, but I jokingly said to Jacqueline, I'm like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if I'm up in the booth and calling the race with Kevin the first time Jay ever wins?" And to see that kind of 2 weeks later, I go up in the booth, assistant calling the race. I didn't do. I don't think I did terrible. Jackin says I did pretty good. I don't think I did great. I could have done better. But you know what? Maybe that's a thing for me to do this offseason, just shoot some video and call my own races and kind of just have some fun. But honestly, it was seeing Jay go out there and win. Man, what a story that is. You'll never see a more emotional guy than Jay Pep, and he is one of the coolest guys you'll ever get to meet. Um, he puts his heart and soul into his racing program that his son Maddox competes also with, and as well as his daughter Tenley drives the Ontario Pro Challenge. You'll never see a better guy who wants to grow the sport, do better, and showcase how well he can do stuff. And I was so blown away. I was so proud of him, and I think it was so cool that I went down and I followed Kevin into Victory Lane just so I can go say congratulations to Jay because the guy's worked hard. He's told me multiple times he's going to get a win. He's going to win. And I know you're going to get a win. It's just when you're going to get that win. And he got it on Saturday night. And guys, it was one of the best things ever. And to see his family after the races and talk to them, it was phenomenal. But yeah, it was such a great night. And you know, Osh weekend on Friday. Just keep showing me why I love dirt track racing because you never know what's going to happen. Just because you may have a bad night to start with doesn't mean you're going to have a bad night in the end. And sometimes you see it in the asphalt side where you have a bad night to start and it just keeps getting worse. And oh, sorry guys. And I know that happens in the dirt side as well, but Cam and the whole CT racing team, they really went to work and got that car better each time out. I think, in my opinion, for Cam to be able to work his way and get into that big show because it's I know what it means for him. I know what it means for that family and that team. And you know, Cam's a wheel man. That dude, man, can wheel. If you guys are looking to sponsor, to get to use a kid for a great marketing, you know, he's one of those guys. Does great work. He's competitive. He loves what he does. Um, you know, I think they need just a little bit more help, but in the market in the marketing partners. So if you guys want to get in touch with them for next year, go get at them. The dude had 2 top 5s this year in the crate sprints, multiple top 10s. I think if I remember correctly, he got a lot of top 10s. But with a little bit more support, that dude will be a front runner. As he said it, oh frick, what did he say? What did he say now? I think he said he'll bring the wet noodle water gun to a real gunfight or something like that. Him and his team, they finished 9th in points this year. Hell of a job out of like 56 guys who ran regular. Like I don't almost have 30 some guys who ran regularly. 30 some drivers regularly. For him to finish 9th is an absolute accomplishment. Dude battled all year long, does great job. Like I said, if you guys are looking for a great kid to get behind and support his racing ventures, I know he wants to go big things, especially in the dirt world. This is a guy that can really help and really take in move to the next step and help grow businesses and help market businesses as well. So get in touch with them. They do amazing work. So they do great. And of course, with Joe Media and Promotions, we're almost guaranteed we may be back at the Nationals next year. So you guys will see another great race day vlog. But anyways, we're gonna get into this week's show. I'm excited. I'm excited to get to talk to Jacob because it's been a couple years since we talked to Jacob, and of course that was during his championship year. He didn't win the championship this year, but we're gonna get him on this year, and we're gonna talk about how he got involved. Like I said earlier, talk about how he got involved in racing, and there's a lot we're gonna discuss. So, but before we do that, Hailey Hill's got a vehicle for me. Let's go find out what it is. This week's Driving with Hailey vehicle spotlight is a 2023 Jeep Wrangler Sahara with only 35,270 kilometers. This Jeep is exactly what you and your family need. It is equipped with a 3.6 liter V6. It is actually a hybrid. Yeah, that's right. It's a hybrid. It's four-wheel drive. It's a black exterior, four-door seats, 5. It is equipped with GPS navigation, keyless ignition, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It also has a rear view camera and Bluetooth. And again, when you got the Bluetooth and the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, that means you guys can listen to the True North Racing podcast presented by Driving with Hailey, hands free. That's right. So make sure you guys give her a shout at 289-808-2828 or at hhill@rideride.ca. Make sure you guys can also find Driving with Hailey on Facebook and Instagram. Doesn't matter if you got good credit, bad credit. Doesn't matter the situation you guys are in. Hailey will be able to find a vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. So, again, make sure you guys give her a shout at 289-808-2828 or hhill@rideride.ca. And again, Facebook, Instagram, Driving with Hailey. Give her a shout. Find her on social media. Get into a new ride today. Now let's get back to this week's episode of the True North Racing Podcast presented by Driving with Hailey with this week's guest, Jacob Ross. In this week's GraphInk Design Studio guest segment of the week, we got the driver, the number 84. We got Jacob Ross joining us. Jacob, how's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. How was your 2024 season?
2024 season started off good. We had a good night ahead of us. Well, unfortunately, our car wasn't working on the first night, so we had to borrow somebody's car. It went well. We won both the features that night, and from that point forward, we were working on our car, went out the first night in our own car, and it was decent. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but we knew we had problems. Had problems with the carburetor. Thought we got it fixed, came back, and still the same issues. The issues with the brakes, just stuff not working right. So with all that going on, my dad's health, we decided to just put an end to it this season, work on the car, and come back for the next season, see what we can do.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It definitely sucks when you start off the season on a good note, even if you were jumping into someone else's car, and then just to have to call it quits, obviously, because between health reasons and car issues, it gets too much sometimes, But you definitely didn't. It's not that you didn't have a busy season or anything like that, because I've seen some of the social media posts. You were still quite a busy man. You were out there, as far as I know, most Thursday nights at Oswego Speedway with the micro sprints. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how you got involved in stuff like this?
Well, I'll start with how I got involved. I got involved when I was really, really young. I think I was 7 turning 8 when I first hopped into a micro sprint. And from that day forward, it's just been a love and a passion. So anytime I'm not at the racetrack racing, I'll be there to help any of those kids at the track. You mentioned Oswego Speedway. Most Thursday nights I was there, and I was helping out my little prodigy, Race McConnell. I've known him ever since he was in the beginner class, really small. I think he was 6 years old. Came up to me with his big bright eyes, just ecstatic, wanting frisbees, wanting candy, wanting this and that out of the trail. So met him back then, and ever since then I've been working with him, and he is now one of the best drivers at that track, hands down.
That's awesome.
I'm proud of that.
It's great when you're able to also give back a little bit and help these drivers, because in the end of the day, it's something I've learned from my years with the Canadian Modifieds, was that one of our leaders, actually the current president of the club, TJ Marshall, he took one of the guys who was a rookie, Scott Tonelli, underneath his wing. He's got him to a point, but he goes, once I get you to a certain point, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And it's obviously you don't compete against them, but it's also good to see, drivers like yourself who are willing to help out to especially to these younger kids to get better, because at the end of the day, we all want to see everyone get better. We all want to go out there, have fun, and get better.
Yeah, that's the key to everything, is having fun and getting better at what you're doing. And you mentioned, like, now I'm at the point with race where I really don't have to tell him much. I don't have to teach him anything. He comes off the track and tells me what's wrong with the cart. And that's always the best thing,
Oh, yeah.
You're with somebody for so long, teaching them so much, and then the stuff you're about to say to them, they come and say to you. It's like a step back, right? So it's a weird feeling, but it's definitely a proud feeling for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we kind of already touched on it here a little bit about how you got involved in it into racing when you were 7, 8 years old. Now let's really dive into this. So 7, 8 years old, little you. First of all, how did the racing bug bite you? Not when you got into a car, but how did the racing bug in general bite you and be like, I want to race cars?
There's nobody better than my father, I'll tell you that. He raced in NASCAR, and I wasn't alive when he was doing it, but I've seen all the pictures and all the videos, and growing up, like that's your hero, right? There's nobody more exciting than that. Your father raced in NASCAR and he's got the pictures to show, so that was where it really started for me. And being at the track every week, every Friday night at Oshwegan Speedway, I'd get picked up early just to go to the races to watch.
Yep,
My dad did a lot of work around Oshwegan Speedway back in the day. So growing up there is really where the love for sprint cars and all types of racing really started.
that's awesome. Growing up, being around the sport is such a great way to obviously get involved with it. Um, and being able to, even though you weren't alive, but being able to go back and relive those um races that your father raced in definitely really bites you. Be like, man, like this is something I want to do. So now let's get up here to when you're 7 or 8. How did the deal come for you to get into a micro sprint?
I'm not
If
really
you can
sure how it
remember,
happened. I'm not really sure how it happened. I just know that my dad was working with somebody at the time, and I just remember showing up at the track and seeing this thing sitting here and wondering what it was, and then they strapped me into it, and the rest is history, really. It's just been a love ever since then. It's been great.
I feel like that could be a bad thing to say. Is like they just strap me in. I feel like that's something bad to say, but um, and of course, being bitten ever since, man. You've gone on. You've won championships. You've won tons of races. You've raced in at different tracks all over Ontario. Um, even recently, we had you on our champions episode. I think it was 2021, which was my first champions episode I did. And I think we got you on because your dad reached out to me actually and was like, "Hey, my son won." I was like, "Let's get him in."
Yeah.
Uh, and in those couple years, okay, can you remind me what championship you won? Because I think I screwed up in my intro. Was it the 500cc
Yeah, so it
open?
was a
Okay,
500cc open class micro sprint.
okay, so I was partially right. I got to the 500cc and then I kind of stopped because I didn't want to make myself seem like an asshole. Um, but no, what was okay, break it down for me. I don't know much about the junior divisions because, like, obviously, I'm more of an asphalt guy. I've always grown up asphalt, so I know like the junior late models, mini trucks, that kind of deal. Those are my stepping stones I learned. You did a lot on the dirt stuff from my because I did your sponsorship proposal earlier this year, so I really was able to read a lot about you. Tell me a little bit more about these micro sprints and where you race. Kind of go through a little bit of a story of the background of where you race, how you race. Like, tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, so where should I start? I mean, started out Oshwegan Speedway when I was really young, then moved to asphalt carts, and then back to these micro sprints. So these micro sprints, there's 3 to 4 divisions depending on where you're going. So there's the beginner division, those little guys.
Yep.
Then there's the step up, I guess they call it box stock. So that's where I did a lot of my racing for my younger years. That's a ruthless division. A lot of people underestimate those kids, but when you get to the track, they're going fast and they're racing hard too. So don't underestimate those kids. And then we have the 230, 250 division. Those things are a little bit slower than the 500s, and then that's when you move up to the badass stuff in those 500.
Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the tracks that you've raced at with the micro sprint so that we have a better because again, I would have known Oshwegan, Grand Bend, because I know Grand Bend has kind of like a micro sprint there.
Mhm.
Where would you run these carts?
So we run these carts at Little Middleton Speedway. It's in Delhi, if anybody knows where that is. And then there was another track down in Tillsonburg that was an indoor track. That was a ruthless track. You really got to get your elbows up around there. So that was difficult, but unfortunately they had to close that down. Then once they closed that down, they opened up a different track up in the same area called, what was it? Coyote Speedway. That was a
Okay.
ruthless track, complete outlaw track. I don't know if it was legal or not, but it was a track and it was fun to race there. And then unfortunately, the city shut that one down, and then we're at where we're at now, Little Middleton Speedway. And that place is a blast. And then the only other place there is to race these things close by is Oshwegan Speedway.
All right. Well, those sorry, man. I'm going back to the whole outlaw track, and the city had to come in and shut it down. Dude, you know what? Sometimes you just let us play. Like,
Exactly.
don't let us get in the way of a good time. Do you want us to race these things on the street? Because I think that'd be a bad idea.
I agree.
Uh, so obviously, growing up racing these micro sprints, and then I think it was 2022. I know you got a deal to go run some Oscar hot rod stuff, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
I think we touched on that because I think you guys had announced it at the time, but I can't remember. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how that deal came about for you to be able to go out there and run those cars?
Deal came about. We met these really nice guys, the Robinsons, and I mean, the rest is history from there. We talked with them for a while and worked out a plan so me and their driver, Jagger, could share that ride part-time. And it was great. I went to Full Throttle Motor Speedway and I won my first race there in that car, first night there. So yeah, just great feelings all around. You know, those people they're a great group of people. Unfortunately, we couldn't work past it for the next coming years, but I mean, they're still amazing people. Love what they're doing for us and for the sport. You know, Jagger, he's a great kid, great race car driver. If anybody gets a chance to look up any of his videos, go ahead and do that because you will be impressed for sure.
And then obviously in 20, I think there was some other deals you had in 2022. You got to run some other stuff, if I remember correctly.
What do we run?
I'm trying to remember now. I think I saw some other
Oh, yes, that's right. The NASCAR championship at Grand Bend. Yeah.
That's
So
what it was. Yeah.
yeah, so we did NASCAR Pro Late Models there. We won that championship. Great season. I don't know how many races we won, but we won quite a few. And I mean, the racers up there, they're great racers. Olivia, Gordy up there, he's a great racer too. He's ruthless up
Oh.
there. Tough to get around him, but yeah, great racing out there in that NASCAR Pro Late Model for sure.
The one thing I gotta know is we do not talk to many people who've raced Grand Bend. We've got like we've had guys who've started at Grand Bend, maybe raced one of those kind of like the micro sprints that they run up there. So I kind of have an idea of like how those ones work, but I haven't talked to anyone who runs a full size car there. And I know, judging from videos and photos I've seen, it's a very tight little track. Uh, what is it like driving a pro late model at Grand Bend Speedway?
It's difficult, you know. It's difficult. It's a really tight, small track. You know, if you want to make the outside work, you got to work for some laps and risk heating up those tires and losing some grip, right? So it's really give or take there. You got to have those brakes working good because if you don't have them good going in, you're screwed up for the entire lap. You're getting passed, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a real bull ring around there. You want to get around, you need to either put the hands up and elbows out and get around there, or you're going to be at the back for a lot of the night.
It does seem like one of those tracks. It's an elbow up, and if you're battling someone, you fight for every inch to keep your spot or to gain a spot because at the end of the day, you don't you, you don't get a photo for second place. You get a photo for first though.
That's exactly right.
Uh, and then last year, you competed in the pro late models up at Grand Bend again in
Yes.
2023, and I think you won the. Did you win the championship last year too, or did someone else? Frick, I can't remember now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So last year was the Little Middleton Championship.
That's okay. That's what
Oh,
it
yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
because
won
you went
that for
back
the
to Little
second
Middleton.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we did was we finished with a NASCAR Pro Late Model there. And
Yep.
yeah, we hopped back into the micro sprints to see what we can do out there. And yeah, it was a great season. We won the championship, had some great battles. We won the big race at the end of the year. That's the one thing I haven't done in my career is win that big race. So we were finally able to get that done, and that definitely felt good.
I was gonna say usually it is a really good feeling when you when you get the big races in and
Yeah.
to be able to go out there and take that top spot. Uh Going out and kind of going from the asphalt back to the dirt and going to the micro sprint. What was that what's that big learning curve, or not even learning curve, but what is it having to adapt to go back to going from something you knew to go into something different like the asphalt late models and in the hot rods to go um back to the 500 cc's? What was the biggest challenge for you going back?
I think the biggest challenge going from asphalt to dirt is the first few laps. You're not quite used to the dirt car. It's completely different. You have to throw it in differently. You're drifting that thing. So, right, you're throwing it in, there's different lines, the track changes every single lap. It's really difficult. But honestly, for me, once we got the first practice or two in, like I was set. I knew what I needed to do, and it's more just muscle memory at that point because I've been doing it for so long.
Absolutely. That it seems like it would be, but I know there's always kind of a little bit of a because we talked to Cam Thompson, one of our drivers, about that because Friday night he goes throws the sprint car around Oshwegan Speedway, and then Saturday he goes and wheels a pure stock at Flamborough Speedway. And I know that there's so much he has to remember not to do when he comes to the asphalt and then goes back to the dirt. But um, honestly, but first of all, we gotta say a big congratulate you be able to go back and win that big race, the championship. I know it means a lot to you and to your family. Obviously, to be able to put your name on a top spot anywhere is difficult because it's when you go out and win championships, it's not just a race or two races. It's a whole season worth of work.
That's right.
Um, and I know you guys put in the work. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Um, but let's get it. Let's continue on here. 2020. Obviously, we talked about 2024. Um, but I know we kind so for anyone who's listening right now, this is actually our second attempt at doing this. Or when we did our first round, Jacob actually, uh, we had computer technical issues, and Jacob disappeared from us as we started talking about it. Um, but as we look forward to 2025, because the season at Grand Bend's over, um, what is your plans for the off season and then into 2025?
Yeah, so for the off season, like I was saying earlier, our biggest plan is to get that car up north, get it in Dave Allen's shop, and work on it. Get that motor changed out, get those brakes fixed up, and just nut and bolt go over everything and anything we could see or touch, and make sure it's ready for next season. I don't know if we have any plans set in stone yet, or if we could talk about anything just yet, but next season's going to be fun for sure. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, maybe when we're done recording, you can give me a little sneak peek of what you guys are working on possibly for next year. Um, but no, it's good that you guys are going to go over the car. You know, I I I like to hear when people are really going to go over the car with a fine tooth comb. Me being a former crew member and work bouncing around from a couple teams the last couple years, I did crew. It really showed this craftsmanship I find, and for me, that's the reason why I stepped out of crewing and got into media was because they didn't take the maintenance seriously or the off season seriously.
Yeah.
I've always been the kind of person. My first gig in crewing was for a late model team. What do you do as soon as the season's over? You tear apart that car and
Yep.
start over again.
That's right.
And I'm not naming names or anything like that, but I like to see when teams are willing to go through the car, make sure it's all right, make sure it's good to go. Because when you hit that track, I always say, and it's always said, races aren't won on the track. You
No.
win them in the shop.
Exactly. That's what makes the difference is between first and last. Is first is always touching their stuff and working on their stuff, and last isn't. You
Yep.
know, I can't thank my dad enough. All the stuff that I've ever raced, my father has put in many, many man hours on that stuff. It's hard for me to be out there because I got school and work. But
Yep.
even then, like it's tough for my dad to be out there, and he's out there every second he can be. So big thanks to him for doing what he does for me, because honestly, it wouldn't be able to get done without him. And like you said, it's those man hours that make the difference out on that track.
Absolutely. Let's you know what? Let's get a little bit about that. You are 20 years old, if I remember correctly.
I just turned 21.
Sure, 21 years old. You're legal to drink in the States now.
There we
Uh,
go.
um, oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm still battling like a cold or something. I
No
got
worries.
knocked down on Thursday. Um, and you are currently in school. What are you going through school to be?
I'm gonna be a preschool teacher.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is that is so cool. Okay, so what obviously okay, wild thought. I'm gonna assume it had to do something with helping these younger kids at the racetrack is why you did
That's
this.
exactly what it is. Yeah. So, I mean, really, when I was little at school, I would always go around and supervise the kindergarten classes. So I fell in love with it back then. But growing up, being at the track and being around all the little kids that wanted to be around me, that really showed me like there's there's different things out here other than racing, right? Like these kids need somebody to look up to. Not every kid has that father figure or
Yep.
you know what I mean? Like just
Yep.
anything around that style, you know? And sometimes there needs to be somebody that needs to step up and just be these kids' friends, you know, hang out with them,
Absolutely.
racetrack, you know, message them here or there. Oh, how's your cart doing? Blah blah blah. You know, just shoot it with them, and they enjoy that. They love that, you know, and that's really where the passion came from for me.
And I think it helps when when you have that passion for racing. And because let's be real, half the kids you probably deal with and chat with and they don't if they go to school, none of their friends care that they race karts,
No, no,
right? They want that older person. That teachers don't care. The only people that care are their is the closest family
exactly.
and maybe one or two kids.
Yeah,
But for the most part, they don't have that adult figure to look up to and be like, man, I race karts, and then they be actually like enthusiastic about it.
hmm,
So I definitely tip my cap to you to for being that role model for those kids, because at the end of the day, whether or not it's involved racing, if it involves racing, that's our next generation of fans and competitors right there, and we
that's
want to
exactly.
keep them in the sport.
Yeah, for sure.
To everyone else, we got to show that their passion means just as much,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, kids are everything, right? We can't have a next generation without those kids, and to be sitting there and showing them that there's other things out there other than racing. Obviously, we want
Yep.
them to be in racing, but to show them there's other things out there other than racing, and you know, stay away from this certain type of stuff. And if this is
Yep.
going down, well, maybe look the other way and do something else and not follow the crowd. You know, that's always the big thing with me is you don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to follow that crowd that's doing whatever in the bathroom at school, you know. Go
Yep.
do your own thing, go home, play your racing video games, do your homework, and grind for what you want to do and what you want to achieve in your life.
Man, I love hearing that. Those are great words to live by too, to make sure you keep your nose clean, put your nose to the grindstone, and good things will happen.
Exactly.
Um, no, man, it's definitely we and of course being in racing, we want to try to encourage all the younger people to get involved in racing because
Hmm.
one, we're losing tracks at a fast rate for the most part. Grandstands don't have as many people as they used to. And of course, and part of it is there's so much to do now
Yeah.
compared to 20 years ago. We got so much to do. Hell, I feel stupid because I fell victim to it. There's a place in Toronto called Party Putt. I
Okay.
saw it online. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I took my now wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, but my now wife, Jacqueline, and one of my friends, we went down. I think I paid 60, 65, $70 or something like that. We took the train down. There's an extra like $30 right there.
Mhm.
So like say close to $100 before we even got drinks involved. Half the attractions didn't work. These were all one shot putting stuff.
No way.
It was the dumbest thing ever, and I fell victim to it, and I felt so stupid. I'm like, there's so much to do, and there's so many different things that they try to advertise as like, oh, you can come play mini putt. Everything was one shot to realistically get it in the hole.
That's brutal.
I don't there were cool attractions, but like they needed to be bigger. Like that one of them was like a Plinko thing. So you like
Mhm.
instead of putting it up, you actually walked to the top and you dropped it in, and then wherever it landed, that was your shot for the hole.
That's it.
That's it. Like like I said, if the attractions were bigger, like the holes were bigger, would have been way cooler.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, but
But yeah, it sucked. Like I hate
one
to say
shot,
it,
yeah, that's boring.
dude. And there was like three different courses, and you paid for all the courses anyways.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was, and then essentially you would play around, take you like 10, 15 minutes, and then
Right.
yeah, it was stupid. Um,
It
I
sounds
felt
pretty
so
dumb.
I felt stupid because I fell victim to exactly what's ruining our sport.
Exactly.
And I hate that because I could have gone and spent $100 and go to Oshwegan for a night or Flamborough or anywhere.
Yeah, that's how
But
I
no,
look
I
at it.
to be fair, it was in the middle of winter. Let's be real. There's not a whole lot to do in Canada when there's no racing happening.
Yeah.
But I still felt stupid.
Or
Um, oh man, remember that. I was so stupid. Sorry, man. Let's get back into this here. Back on track. Uh, where do you see yourself wanting to go with your racing career? What is your end goal with racing?
my end goal with racing, I've said ever since I was a little kid, I don't care what I do or where I end up as long as I'm racing cars. But I think my end goal in racing, I was talking to my dad about this the other day. I said I want to beat Kyle Larson in a micro sprint before I quit racing. So we'll see how long Kyle Larson's racing these things for. But yeah, that's definitely one of my goals. But I don't really have a goal. I want to race everything and anything there is. I know I can do it. I have the talent to do it. It's just a matter of the money and the track time. Like without the money, you can't be on the track. And without the track time, you can't be at the front. Right.
Yeah.
So that's all I need is the track time and the money to get out there and show these people that, like I'm someone to be reckoned with. I'm someone out here that can beat any one of you drivers as long as I have the stuff to do it. So speaking about goals, the goal is to be the guy that can get in anything and win. That's the goal.
Certainly, you already seeming like that kind of guy. Obviously, jumping into a late model you didn't even get to practice in, and winning, right? Like, uh, you definitely. I've seen your stat sheet. Obviously, like I said, I did your sponsorship proposal earlier this year. Looked at your stat sheet. It's impressive.
Thank you.
Like, let if you okay. So let's promote you here next year. Let's say unlimited budget. Where are you racing? Let's hypothetically.
Unlimited budget.
Un, okay, 100,000 a year. 100,000 for the year. Where are you racing?
I'm racing as many tracks as I possibly can race in a single season. I'm going to Delaware. I'm going to Flamborough. I'm going to every track I could possibly get on. $100,000 a year. Man, I'll get some brand new tires, brand new brakes. I'll go wherever. There's no track in particular. That's a lot of money for me to be racing with.
You know what? It's never out of reach. It's I always say like one of the things, and again, this I'm not trying to promote myself here, obviously, but with like that's what we try to help with on our end is to help alleviate the to promote you guys, right?
Mhm.
Because I know a lot of you guys are fantastic race car drivers. Let's be real. A lot of y'all suck with social media, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I love that. I would love to like because I know Grand Bend they air on Flow Racing, I think, down in the States, but they also have a free stream um on their YouTube on their Facebook page that we can go back and watch. So I'm gonna have to go back and make sure that first race of yours was actually on there so I can go take a look. Um, but no, honestly, like it's never out of reach to be able to reach these goals. And I know you guys work hard on the cars and you guys work hard to better your equipment because again, if you don't better your equipment, you're going to be at the back,
That's right.
and I know it. I don't obviously I don't know you personally, but I know from what I've heard, what I've seen is that you do not want to be at the back. You don't want to be out there riding around. You want to be competing for wins, competing for championships, because at the end of the day, that is exactly where you want to be. You don't want to be the guy. I'm sure you would take a second or third in points over the course of a season, but you want to aim for that top spot.
Yeah, nobody wants to be at the back. And, that's something I also noticed last week. I went down to Wisconsin with Dave Allen to watch some racing there and help him out with racing. And it was a three, 3 day, 3 or 4 day race weekend there. And first night, you're out there walking around and everybody's getting drunk. And then you realize the guys that are getting really drunk are the guys that are at the back of the pack.
Yeah.
And that was something I really noticed out there. But everybody else was sleep early and up bright and early to work on those race cars and get them prepared for the next day. So that was a big thing I noticed out there. So hands-on is the best way you can be.
Exactly. Like, we all know the guys love to have a good time in the pits after the races, and there's nothing wrong with having one or two, but a little overboard is, you're right. I think a lot of them end up at the back. But obviously getting to travel, obviously you seem like you get to travel with some of the stuff you get to do. Uh how did you get involved with David Allen then?
Uh, Him and my dad have been friends for too long. I think
It's for too
30 years
long.
now.
I don't think
Yeah,
there's ever
something
thing as
like
too
that.
long, man.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, but yeah, that's how I got involved with them up there. They're a great group. Dave and his whole family, they're so nice to me. Every time I'm up there, they're always offering me stuff, giving me places to stay, paying for the whole race weekend. Those types of things are the things that you remember for a long time. Dave Allen also stepped up. He actually owns half of our race car, so big thanks to him for helping us out this season. So that's another reason why we're going to be going up there with the car and going over it with him, making sure everything's right for the next year.
That's awesome. And it's good that you have like a car owner and a co-owner um that also cares about your racing career, right? Like we want to see that. We want to see people who care and help. Sorry, I love how you can hear your dad in the background there sometimes. Sorry, Jeff, don't mean to call you out like that.
He's
Uh,
watching.
yeah, he's like he I guarantee you he's being exactly like a great PR, like don't say this, don't say that. Like
That's exactly
he's
it.
probably doing this in the background if you start getting close to the topic. And I love hearing that. That's awesome. I could tell that, and I can just hear that, which is funny. No, man, it's great though. I love that. You're such a good kid, and I want to see you succeed, and I hope to see. I know earlier this year, I think when I was working on your schedule, I think you were planning. I don't know if you guys were planning or not, but I was really hoping you guys were going to come down and race at Flamborough at one point, so I can come introduce myself to you guys, because I don't know if you've seen, but I've been a busy guy this year,
Oh yeah.
traveling for the most part around the province. Um, and I try to at least get out to go to meet all the drivers at least once at a race. Fortunately, that didn't happen this year with you guys, but it's definitely been fun keeping track, watching how you guys go. Um, because
Sponsors.
There he goes again,
I heard that.
eh?
Uh, we'll get there, Jeff. Don't worry. It's great to be able to Jesus Christ.
Lost our train of thought because of him. Jeez.
Yeah, lost my train of thought. Um, yeah, the while that's on my brain here, why don't you take us through your sponsor list here for the 2024 season, and some of the biggest players you've had help out with you.
All right, so we got ELC Solutions. They've been a big help to us. Can't thank them enough. They've been working with my dad a lot. Devil's Rock Tackle Company, Halnor Plumbing, Dave Allen Racing, of course. Uh, who else we got? Who else we got, Dad?
Robertson and Company providing radio.
Robertson and Company. They provide us our radios for this season, so thank you to them for that. And I think that's pretty much it for where we're at right now. More to come for next season though, for sure.
If let's do a little bit more promoting about you here. If someone was to want to get a hold of you guys and want to come on board for your program for 2025, how would they get a hold of you?
Go to our Facebook page, Ross Motorsport. Yeah, message us there, comment on our stuff. We read everything, right? So nothing will go untouched there. So if you want to get a hold of us, reach out to us there, and you'll get a response very quickly.
All right. Um, Jesus. I your dad got me all confuzzled over here now. Uh no man, it's been great having you obviously on the program here tonight. I like I said, it sucks that I'm hoping to make a trip out to Grand Bend next year because that's a track I haven't yet gone to in like I've gone to most tracks in Ontario. So like next year I'm planning to go to Laird Raceway up in just outside Sault Ste. Marie. And then
Okay.
of course I want to get to Grand Bend because I've yet to experience Grand Bend. And, to me, I feel like it's going to remind me a lot of Sobel. I've gone to Sobel a few times, the past like 3 years in a row. Well, yeah, 3 years in a row. I've gone 4 times. I feel like it's going to remind me a lot of Sobel in the sense of like it's a beach town. You
Yeah,
know, it's I don't know how close it is to the water. I haven't actually looked.
I think it's like 10
Um,
minutes away.
10 minutes. Okay, so it's no different than like Sobel.
Yeah.
Um, you know, why don't you tell us a little bit like I know we talked about it earlier. Um, why should drivers come to Grand Bend and race there?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they should come. I think they should come there to race because it's a different type of racing. At all the bigger tracks, it's more of a lighter feeling going into the corner, but here you're up on that wheel, and to be fast, you really got to be up on the wheel and on those brakes hard. So it's just a complete different feeling of racing up there, and it's something you need to experience. Short track racing. This is a really really short track, but you're going to need that short track racing experience if you're going to move up throughout these levels in racing. So it's really great for experience and moving on to the next steps.
This is a question. I don't think I've actually got to ask anyone this question before. Is what's it like being able to say that like because I know Grand Bend's a NASCAR licensed track. What is it like being able to say like has it helped you or done anything for you to be able to say that you're a NASCAR driver at Grand Bend?
Well, it's definitely a good feeling, that's for sure. Anytime that NASCAR title is in front of anything, it's a good feeling. It makes people open their eyes more. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say it's been like a massive help for our seasons or anything, but it makes people open their eyes and turn their heads and say, oh, well, NASCAR's involved. Well, why don't we get involved?
Yeah,
And yeah.
that's awesome. Uh, you know, Usually I wrap up our programs obviously with talking about like people you want to thank and stuff like that, but we kind of went over your sponsor list here. Um, I'm hoping next year that I can make a trip out and be able to come watch you guys race it at some point next year because I want to come over and introduce myself to you guys, but of course this year has just been the only time I've gone to the races pretty much is if I've had one of my race day vlogs because it's just been a crazy year for me this year.
Hmm.
But would love to be able to come out and meet you guys next year. You know, it'd be great to see you guys obviously race. And like I said, if it's Grand Bend, I really hope I get out there because it looks like a pretty cool track. But that's pretty much going to wrap us up for our graphic design studio guest segment this week. And of course, we got to thank Jacob for joining us. Before we let you go, is there's like I said, we kind of went through your sponsors. If there's anyone else you want to thank, from your great great grandparents to your future dog that you have a name for but don't own one yet. You have an idea of what a dog you want, but you don't have it. Feel free to go through here and thank everyone on your list.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go through the list one more time, but I mean, I got to start
Please
off with
do, man.
my family. I got to start with my family, mom, dad, my sister Samantha, all the dogs, Titus, Chloe, wherever you guys are at. And, thanks to everybody that's always been there helping us out ever since I was a little kid. It's a dream come true, and you can't thank these people enough. ELC Solutions, Devil's Rock Tackle Company, Hall Noor Plumbing, Dave Allen. Dave, you've been an amazing help to us, and can't thank you enough for everything you guys do for us. So thank you.
Obviously, we know that your final rate, you're not racing anymore this year, as far as I know, right?
I don't think so. We're gonna try and get out to Pilsenberg in a 500. We got something going on. Dave Allen, his daughter is racing one, so we got hers down here right now. We're setting it up for her, and I think I'm gonna take it for a spin, for one night, and then she's gonna come down from Thunder Bay and race it herself. So we'll see if we can get into it by the end of the season. If not, then we're always looking forward to next season for those 500s and any other car we could drive.
All right, man. Well, if anyone, like I said, anyone wants to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you guys?
Ross Motorsport on Facebook page. That's the best way for us to be in touch and contact with you regularly. So thank you.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week on the True North Racing Podcast, presented by Driving with Hailey. And we hope you enjoy your off season. We can't wait to watch you in 2025.
Thank you so much. It's great talking to you.
And we're back from our conversation with Jacob Ross. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about him. I can't wait to see what he does in 2025. I'm hearing hopefully good things. But I'm excited to it was great to have the kid on board this year with Joe Media Promotions. He was our only driver from Grand Bend Speedway. Though his season got cut short, he did finish the season with a couple wins. I think five top fives, five top fives, and five top tens as well. So congratulations to him and his team on a great season and the starts that they made. And we hope to the Gremlins are gone for 2025. As we head into the closing laps of the season, guys, oh my God, we're almost done. It's hard to say. Like, Sunset just crowned champions on Saturday night. Champions were crowned Saturday night at Sunset. Peterborough's been done for a couple weeks. Sauble's been done for a couple weeks. Delaware is just about to wrap up in a couple weeks here too. Like, Flamborough's got a couple weeks, and then like next weekend, Sunset's done. They have Velocity next weekend, and then they're done for 2024. Then I don't want the season to end. I never wanted to end, but I understand it gives us the time to be able to sit back, reflect, start preparing for 2025. And of course, we're doing that with the True North Racing Podcast with Joe Media Promotions. We're always looking for marketing partners. If you are interested in joining us as marketing partner for 2025, reach out. We got lots of opportunities available for your business to be a part of our program. If you're a driver, we got 5 packages to choose from in 2025. I'm going to do a little video about that, and you guys are going to see that in the coming weeks here on in the True North Racing Podcast, as well as on our social medias on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you guys find us, there you guys are going to find it there. But I don't have too much else to talk about because I don't want to go over this week as I did last week. I want to keep it around an hour and a half overall. I know this is probably getting close to about an hour 15-ish. I need to figure out how to set a timer. I'm up in the corner here, so I know. But yeah, guys, it's been a long weekend. I've enjoyed it, every single minute of it. I can't wait to get back. Next time out, I'll be at the races. Will be September 28th with the Sutcliffes, Jacob and Wyatt. We're gonna have a day at the races. That's probably gonna be a 2-parter, as well as we are gonna be meeting up with them at their shop. Just located outside Shelburne, Ontario. And then we're going to travel with them down to Flamborough and really get a good behind the scenes look at what their team goes through throughout a race day to prepare for the day. I'm excited, going to be chatting with him here in this week to get all the timing and everything down so that we're ready to go. I got to thank all our partners on the True North Racing Podcast, because without them, none of this is possible. I got to thank Driving with Hailey for being the presenting sponsor, JTM Racing, Peps Pro Painting, Wilds Printing, Georgetown Printing, Taylor to You Media Designs, the Feeney Call Photography, 19 Marketing, Stickers and Scuffs, Valhalla Mobile, Lift the Visor, GraphInk Design, without all of them, none of this is possible. I got to thank them from the bottom of my heart for all their support. Um, I'm hoping to announce some cool things happening in 2025 in the coming weeks. We are still working on a concept TV show to deal with. I gotta really sit down and figure that one out. But we got some cool things coming down the pipe. I'm not gonna be slowing down this off season by any means, but there will be some. You'll see some different things coming from Joe Media Promotions over the course of the winter, and I'm looking forward to seeing how well it goes. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for checking us out. This is episode 149, which means next week is episode 150. 150 times you guys have checked us out. 150 times you guys have listened to me chat and rant about racing, and 150 times man, of what's up, everybody. You guys thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, comment. The more you guys share, the better. It helps us out. It helps reach new people. Even if you don't listen to us, just share. Please share it. Maybe someone in your friends list will like this. Even if you don't. We haven't announced guest 150 yet, but you will see some posts this week about maybe who guest 150 is. And if you guys haven't figured it out yet, I think it's pretty obvious, but you guys will find out on Thursday because we'll be recording with them that night. So yeah, but thank you everyone for listening to episode 149 of the True North Racing Podcast, presented by Driving with Hailey. I'm John Morrison. We'll see y'all next time for episode 150. Have a great week. Bye now.
The gas and feel the vibe, going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing, let's go.